Gareth Southgate has come out, right, and said, in fact, should we play the audio? Should we play, because he said it again recently. This is very bizarre what Gareth Southgate has said. He said yesterday, he questioned whether Man City's Phil Foden is capable of playing in the middle of midfield. Now, during a World Cup, or the World Cup last December, talkSPORT England correspondent Faker Others spoke to both to Phil Foden and the Three Lions gaffer, Gareth Southgate, about this. Have a listen what they both said. It's very interesting.
What is your best position for England?
I don't know.
You don't know? Come on, you must know.
Probably somewhere in the 10 role.
Phil Foden's actually just told me that he thinks his best position is 10.
Well, yeah, but he never plays there, does he? So, it's hard to work that out. I can see why, but, we need a little bit of evidence of it being used at times.
I find that very bizarre, right? He's also said, this is yesterday. This is so interesting. Gareth Southgate said yesterday, I'm quoting word for word, he doesn't play centrally for his club. So presumably there's a reason for that. That's why he's not playing in midfield, right?
Yep.
So just remember that. Let that linger. So Southgate, because they don't play there for their club, won't pick them for the country in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? James Maddison plays down the middle for Spurs, started on the left for England. Okay? Kieran Trippier plays right back for Newcastle, has played left back for England. Harry Maguire doesn't even play, nor does Calvin Phillips. He played Trent in midfield for the first time ever before anyone when he was always playing at right back. Ashley Young, I don't know if you remember this, at the World Cup in 2018, was left wing back for England.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker has played as a centre-back for England. And Jordan Henderson played as a number 10 against France. All these players don't play those positions for their club, but the England manager has played them out of position.
Danny Ings, wide left. Callum Wilson, wide right.
Right. So when the England manager comes out, when he's asked, why can't you put Phil Foden in the middle of the park? And he says, well, he doesn't play there for his club, so presumably there's a reason. Absolute garbage.
He's garbage.
Absolute garbage.
Because Maddison's the prime example of this recent squad. Because as you said there, I watched him against Burnley playing that number 10 behind Son. He was brilliant. And then you go and play left of the 3 up front. That's not where he plays. I just think Gareth's making excuses as to why he's not put him in there. Because I watched Phil Foden against Newcastle. Oh my goodness, he was so good this year.
Yeah.
Half turn, exploding away with the ball, trying to create opportunities. Like, do you know what I mean? He's.
Do you remember against PSG in the Champions League? Was playing in that role. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. He can play. I think he can. The intelligence he's got and the intelligence that Pep is instilled into him as well. He can play that role. So the fact Gareth's going,
he can play that role.
The fact Gareth's going, nah, he doesn't play that role is bonkers to me. But I would love to see him in that role because I've seen him play well in that role this season, sort of recent times. But if you just don't fancy him as a manager in that role, just come out and say
just
that.
Say it like Calvin Phillips. Not even playing.
No,
he'll play tonight.
Yeah,
he'll play tonight. We'll play two defensive midfielders.
I think it's a bigger game than people think. I know it's a big game, is in the rivalry between England and Scotland, but for Gareth Southgate, that the Wolves are out anyway after the Ukraine performance. Even though it's a point and they didn't lose, fair play. They weren't at their best, but they didn't get beat, which is a positive. If they lose this one, oh my goodness, people will go for Gareth's head.
We'll talk about that later on. That's going to be our last phone in about.
People would be going for his head if they lose this.
Well, actually, to get the sack,
get him out. They'll be like, get him out before the Euros. Get him out.
Do you really think they'll go that heavy if we lose against Scotland?
Look how bad they went for the draw against Ukraine.
Yeah.
If they lose this game against Scotland.
So with that in mind, then one of the questions we're asking is, A, should Phil Foden start, which of course we all believe he should. Also, do you go full strength tonight?
I'm going full strength. I'm not taking no chances. No, I'm not taking no. When you say full strength, it's a bit of a hard one because there are players in this England squad that are so talented that it shouldn't really matter what team you put out. They should be able to get the job done. But I would like to see the likes of Eze because I think he's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
I like that we saw Gurhey in the game against Ukraine. I quite enjoyed that. I want to see Foden coming. Grealish maybe given an opportunity.
Where's Foden going to play for you?
I'd play him at number 10.
Yeah.
If really not play him out there.
It really frustrates me the England manager is constantly getting it massively wrong. And we talked about it briefly on yesterday's show about if we don't win the Euros. I think we've got a great chance to win the Euros because we've got such a great squad.
I don't think we've ever had a pool of players to choose from that in depth.
I agree with you.
That have been this talented.
Apart from maybe number 9. Right?
Yeah, I get that. There was a time at England where we had about 10.
Yeah. But now, and maybe defensively we're a bit, but the front 6, when they're all fit, are up there with the best of them.
Up there with the best. So I just think that.
So do you think, sorry Benny, do you think Foden should start for England? If everyone's fit, does he start for you?
Well, that's the argument because you go, listen, centre-forward's taken. That's done. It's what you do either side. Now, Saka,
Well, it's not either side because right is Saka's. We know it's done.
Okay, fair enough. Saka plays right and he plays every single week for Arsenal and he's playing at a high level. Left side is a bit balmy because you've got Rashford there who, listen, when he catches fire, it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
Grealish was brilliant last season, wasn't he? But Grealish is keeping Foden out of that left-hand side. So do you go Grealish on that side? And then the midfield three almost picks itself. Rice, Bellingham, and then Maddison or Foden, if depending where you want to put them. So that would be my...
But you know, I agree with you, and I think most England fans would agree with you, but those two players are behind in the pecking order, behind, I would imagine, in Gareth Southgate's mind, Calvin Phillips and Jordan Henderson.
Which is crazy.
Which is absolutely nuts, isn't it?
I heard Gareth's press conference, as I said, when he spoke to Faye after the game, and Faye suggested, and she said that people had said that potentially Jordan Henderson played badly. Mate, I thought he was going to jump on her. He was like, no, I don't think he played badly.
Yeah.
That protected him, like... Do you know what I mean? I just think in games like that, I think the opposition, if you look at the team sheet and you saw the likes of Maddison in his right position, Bellingham...
Rice, Foden,
Saka, Rashford, Kane,
Grealish.
You'd go, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
or psychologically, you go, oh my...
Yeah,
wow.
and let them worry about us. I totally agree with you.
Too many times we worried about the opposition.
We're going to take calls on this in just a moment. We'll take one now, though. So if you want to have your say, pick up the phone 03717 2233. Massive game of football tonight. Of course, you can hear it live on talkSPORT. Dave's a City fan. Hello, Dave.
Hi, lads. How are you doing?
We're great. Very well. How are you today? What was your big TV show as a kid? What did you rush home for?
Fireball XL5.
Is that a TV show or a computer game?
No, it was a TV show. Don't you remember it, Zuni?
It was who?
Hey, listen, mate, it was in the 60s, so you lads won't know.
Oh, right, okay. You're telling me they had TVs in the 60s, Dave?
No? Yeah, it was black and white. And there was a little box that used to flicker.
I like the way you said it, Dave. Like you thought me and Bentley would have seen a show in the 60s as a kid growing up.
Well, you might have had reruns. You know, everything's on streaming now, isn't it? You know, about the world.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, look.
Go on.
Phil Foden's the best number 10 in this country, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
And Gareth Southgate, he's scared to death of playing him as a number 10 because he's going to show that team up for what they are. There are a load of crabs in midfield. They go sideways, back and back. Everything about him is defensive. Darren Bent will know that the first instinct of a midfield player should be to look forward.
Correct.
First thing you do, right? And that's what Phil Foden does. The first instinct of Declan Rice, Phillips, Jordan Henderson is sideways or back. And that's why, unless he puts him in as a number 10 and gives him a run in the team, we're not going to win anything with him.
Do you know what I will say, Dave, as well, and to you, Andy? By putting Foden in that number 10, you cannot tell me that England are weaker by putting Foden in the 10.
Well, especially when he plays two Holding behind him. Let's be honest. You know, if you can't, he plays with a massive, donkey defence, I would call it, that just sit along the 18-yard box, really. They haven't got any, the right back's brilliant, and we know that. The left back can be brilliant, but he always has them holding players in a forward, if you like. So if you play him in front of that, why does he need to track back every few minutes soon?
I agree.
Just let the lad go forward. Let him do. We've had this for years in England, and going back all the way to Glenn Hoddle and people like that, where managers have been too scared to just say, sod it, I'm going for it. Let's go and win something, instead of sitting back in a chair and saying, I don't want to lose.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Dave. When Dave said he's the best number 10 in the Premier, I think you thought he meant best number 10, but I think he's talking about English.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we've got some great number 10s.
Yes,
but either way, he's in that conversation.
There's one at his club.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to... I mean, you've got to wait for Kevin De Bruyne
to leave.
Haven't you? I mean, they've got some great players in the middle of the park anyway.
Would you swap right now Fernandes for him? Foden in that 10? I don't think you can. Do you know? And the only reason I say that, I think Foden is probably better. Fernandes' numbers are just... Yeah.
And he's flourishing at the moment as well. He's loving that role. He's brilliant.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.